So you know you need soundproofing, but where do you start? In this video, I'm going to show you how we would soundproof this lounge diner, but in particular, the first things that you should do to get stuck into your soundproofing. So first of all, I would recommend extending the electrical. Take into consideration where you want those new sockets, any wall lights or ceiling lights that you want, and extend the wires to fit the new soundproofing. So in essence, you're going to take the electrical back to first fix, and I would recommend extending the electrical wires by about 400 mil. And this would give you enough wire on the sockets that you've extended, for example, to feed it through the different soundproofing layers. For this example I'm showing you, there is a radiator on the separating party wall, and the same concept applies. You need to take the plumbing back to first fix. You need to remove the radiator, drain the system, cap the pipes, but also take into consideration where that radiator will sit after any soundproofing installation. For this project, we're going to cap the pipes beneath the suspended floor void, and therefore we will bring the radiator pipes up to the radiator after any soundproofing is installed, putting the technology in the wall to support the radiator so we don't compromise the new soundproofing. After you've extended the electrical and extended the plumbing, the next thing I would do is cut open the floor, especially if you have a suspended floor void. And this particular project is a 1950s type property. It has a suspended floor void. We kind of knew the joists were running into the separating party wall from the types of noises the homeowner was experiencing. They were hearing boom, 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 kids running around next door. They were hearing doors closing and a lot of structural borne noises. And when you have a clearly pronounced door banging coming through the separating neighbour wall next door, then that would signal joists running into the wall. Now, it's very important if you have joists running into the wall, especially on a suspended floor void, to cut open the floor. Think how old your property is. For this property, that's maybe 70 years of people walking up and down on these floorboards, on these joists. That's going to create movement and dislodge sand and cement, dislodging bricks, creating those holes in the structure. Because the ceiling joists were also running into the separating neighbour's wall, it was very important to cut open the ceiling and see what we got there as well. So this is where we cut open the ceiling and it revealed those holes in the structure. So you can see we've cut open the ceiling and it's exposed those holes in the structure, those holes going through to next door. And it just shows you how important it is to cut open the ceiling and expose this area between the joists above the ceiling. So we have holes in the suspended floor void going through to next door, and we have holes in the ceiling void going through to next door as well. It's not just the old properties we find holes going through to next door, we also find holes in the new build properties as well. So just ask yourself what type of noises you're hearing. If you're hearing those high frequency sounds, maybe kids screeching, if you can hear a TV presenter's voice from the neighbour's TV next door, then that would signal holes in the structure, because that high frequency really does struggle to come through bricks and mortar. So after you've extended the electrical and extended the plumbing, you've cut open the floor and you've cut open the ceiling and you can see what you've got. This is where you want to start bricking up those holes in the structure with a sand and cement. For those more difficult to reach regions, I would recommend an acoustic sealant, making sure the wall is airtight. Next, I would recommend sound deadening the wall. Like a lot of my videos, I'm using this 20mm rubber again. Now there are other products. You can use a viscoelastic membrane such as a Tech Sound. But either way, if you are hearing structural borne noises such as doors banging, kids running around next door, then you really need to consider sound deadening the wall first before you install any system to that separating neighbour's wall. Just be mindful on what you do use, because the main reason we're using this particular product is because it doesn't channel the noise into those hollow floor voids or hollow ceiling voids. There are a lot of products out there like a 10 kg per meter squared mass loaded vinyl, for example. Applying that to the wall first, we find it will channel the noise into those hollow voids. So try and use something like this if you can. Now what you do next will depend on your budget, your noise problem, your space available and your skill level. For this example, we're going to use our floating frame, which we show you how to do in the noise-free DIY soundproofing course, and you can find the link to that course in the description down below. You can see how the frame is decoupled from the ceiling, from the floor, from the flanking window walls and the other wall perpendicular, making it very difficult for the noise to get into this frame before we've started applying any soundproofing to it. We're then going to insulate the frame and above the ceiling and below the suspended floor. And before you go commenting, there is a suspended floor system in there. We've hoovered out the suspended floor and we've put damp-proof membranes down in there, which we show you in the noise-free DIY soundproofing course, to make sure that you can tuck all the layers that you install to your wall system down beneath the suspended floor void, which still allows the suspended floor void to breathe and have plenty of airflow, and making sure those materials are protected from any moisture. Next, we've installed a mass-loaded vinyl followed by a resilient bar, a fibre board and then a 15mm soundblock board. Notice how all the layers are tucked up and tucked down, because that area above the ceiling is still the direct noise path of that separating neighbour's wall, and that area below the floor is still the direct noise path of that separating neighbour's wall. And it's very important that those areas have the same layers of soundproofing installed to them as the wall. Next, seal up all the joins and get the room completely plastered. Then we like to get some electrical on, get some light in the room, and we carry on with the fixtures and fittings. Installing some skirting, making sure the skirting is isolated, of course, so you don't compromise your new wall system. And then we would get the room completely decorated and then install the carpet. I hope this little video gives you some inspiration if you're considering soundproofing your own room. I hope it gives you an idea of the process of works if you're considering project managing your own soundproofing. These types of installations, my installation teams carry out week in, week out. But if you're a builder, DIYer, and you have projects like this, maybe you want to soundproof your own home, you might want to consider our education courses, the noise-free DIY soundproofing course, or if you want something very thin, something to get started on, then there is the Soundproofing Secrets course, and the link for both of these courses is in the description down below. All right, guys, that's it for now. I'll see you on the next video.